Okay, so I know I mentioned this a number. I'm in a happy bubble. Isn't that cool? Man, what clouds last night? Pink. Um, Endocrine receptors. Yeah, I've mentioned this a few times before. Endocrine receptors, the endocrine system, right? Why do they target the 7 primary nerve centers? Signals intelligence, neurons, your circuitry. Why do they target your nerves, the central nervous system? Because if you're in a state of peace 100% of the time, you can't make any money on you. Another way we can put this is to burn your bulb out. Burn the positive side out. Burn up the positive energy. Burn up the positive magnetic polarity. Yeah, burn your bulb out. Now you're not experiencing any light. Now your mirror goes black. You know what a black mirror is, right? A black hole. Now they're chasing electrons. So the idea is to collapse the whole enchilada. How do you do that? That's what we're experiencing. Experience the data. The data is the evidence. The numbers don't lie, right? The more fractures, the more souls that keep fragmenting, which means a part of what we were once giving love to, experiencing being whole, experiencing being one with all creation, that's now lost in space like shattered crystal that went dark. Now you're in the amnesic barriers. Now you're into the recordings. I don't want to keep recording that over and over and over again, or I'm going to go insane. That's their methodology. Drive us insane, which is the central nervous system, because the circuitry is whacked. So these are Biofield hackers, right? Break through the firewall, right? I know. I went through, remember I described this when I was a child. I'm measuring by virtue of experiencing, if you want to experience it as data, I'm measuring the loss and gain of electrons, the loss and gain of voltage that's being experienced in every battery, mama's battery, to maintain perfect balance, calm the nerves, the central nervous system of a planet, the central nervous system of a galaxy, the central nervous system of the universe, the cosmic level central nervous system, nerves, neurons. Knock the neurons down so you're not generating a gazillion neurons as plasma waves. Your heart is the most powerful plasma wave generator to generate a gazillion neurons. Wow. Now you're far more aware of what's going on through neurons that are communicating with other neurons through signals intelligence. You see? They don't want you experiencing yourself as a powerful spirit running a powerful firewall, because now you're running spiritual immunity. The eternal spirit of fire, the eternal spirit of love, the eternal spirit of absolute pure love. You're running on the purest eternal energy. You're experiencing the one, the first one. Now you're a one, now you're a monad. So we have to voltage regulate the amount of quantum energy without burning ourselves up. Like I almost experienced. No, it didn't happen, but I was regulating it over a period of 45 days. But I have help. When I thought my spine was going to burn up. And the nerves, the spinal cord, yeah. The 7 sun discs, the 7 rainbow auroras, right? And so this is sort of an off take to what the previous video that I did, particularly when it comes to targeted individuals, right? And if you're in Rome, as Rome's doing, because they're sensing the data, biosensing the data and tracking you here, they're going to leave you alone, right? What I can say is this, is that most of all the things that I have shared on all the videos that I began, which was the first one, which is Rose Sweet Channel, I just woke up one morning, I'm getting a download, and the next thing I know, it's like, put a video up. But I was never comfortable going on a camera because you know the difference between how much energy is represented when you live through your heart and your soul, the amount of energy that can be communicated at a single eternal moment. And now I have to slow myself down to think about what I'm going to communicate that is coherent. Then I realize that the amount of energy that I'm experiencing is never going to be able to translate the truth, right? Using this language to do it in a mirror that is running at a slower speed than I am because of the density level that we're operating at here. Okay? Nevertheless, I got the downloads and figured just let it fly. Just push the information out there. Just communicate the information. And so when you look at all those videos over time, this is what I'm sharing, is what I'm experiencing by virtue of what's being downloaded. And so as time goes on, what I can tell you is that none of that information would have ever been shared through this network if it wasn't safe to do so. That much I can tell you. So that is another marker of where we're at on the planet as to the success that we're having. Particularly when it comes to biosensors, sharing data on this system when we're down here, because if you've ever seen a great video that Patty Broussard did with Og Tellys and Karen Ann McDonald, which was, as I remember it, called The Galactic History. And it was like a 9-hour podcast, even though it was on YouTube. And I remember Og Tellys said, see, it was like he was aware of information. It's like Rumsfeld when he said known unknowns and unknown knowns. It's like, you know that there is information that is relevant to this discussion, but I don't want to use my state of consciousness to go in that direction, because if I do, there could be some very negative consequences. It operates much like that, which means I know that there are other things that I knew, right? Like before I came in here in 1951. And there are things that I know that exist in the future that I already know that are there because I've actually already experienced it. But I'm not going to experience it in here because it's not safe to experience it here, because you have a safe zone that you operate from. Okay, which is known as tether, a safe zone. So when it becomes safe to release information upon which has any value to others, that's now running through a server, okay, which means software connected, if you will, into a motherboard, plugged into a motherboard, just like the jack on the back of a stereo receiver. Plug yourself in, an audio-video recorder, right? CD-ROM, CD plates, tectonic plates, the atmospheric, how the atmospheric pressure of planetary consciousness is affecting the plates. Everything that's going on with the plates, everything that's being affected with the plates by the use of technology. And the technology is directed by the consciousness that is directing the technology. And then we experience the result, right? And so at the end of the day, that's visual mathematical data, right? So now you're into the non-visual or the invisible landscape, which is the energy that we do see and the energy that we don't see. Yeah, and so I have fun with this. It's not funny, but I have fun with being able to share a lot of this with all of you to sort of provide what we call background perspective on why we're all here, right? I call it cleaning a mess up. You know, for me, it's a crime scene, so we got to clean it. It's like, okay, it's like our children. This is what ends up in the way self-destructive technologies being used against others. Okay, so the parents got to come in and say, okay, we're going to take your toys away. You're done playing war games with each other. It's over. You know, there's cosmic law here, and we're the law. Okay, so the law's coming in here. We collected the evidence. We know who all the responsible parties are. You got to take responsibility for the actions for which we use our energy for, yeah. And so there are different levels, if you will, of different councils. Okay, but cosmic law is cosmic law, which love is the law. Okay, which is the law of circuits, which is the law of building motherboards, which means we do no harm to other living cellular beings. Right? Because what I do to you, I do to me. Because that's part of my record. Right? So we have records of who we all are by communicating to each other who we all are and the direction that we're all going in together. Right? So we end up with a multiverse that is in love with itself. Because that's what it began with. The first self. I'm self. I'm a cell. I am what love is. The first cell. The first cell phone. The first atmosphere. Yeah. Fire and water. Fire and ice. Have a great day. We love you all. Be good yourselves.